Okay. So I got two things. Three things. Three things. One, we got to do an old nasty piece of catch up because I've fallen behind. So in this episode, we're going to do episode 10 and episode 11. Okay. So my fault. I'm going to explain why. Apologies for me falling behind. So we got to do a catch up. But here are the two things that I'm going to focus on. One, Drew, do you ever get tired of people putting a battery in your bag? I just want to know. Does the Duracell ever get tired? Does it ever shock you? And Kenya, girl, are you becoming a bit of an ambulance chaser? Is that it? I'm just saying. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 15. This is episodes 10 and 11. I'm going to cover them both in this video. Again, I'm going to start right off there. I owe you guys a huge apology. I've been so busy that I ran there wasn't enough James to go around, if you will. But here's the explanation about why we're late. Actually, I have a very good friend who got married on the 22nd. Okay. So July 22nd, Mr. Eric and Miss Stacy tied the knot. They are an adult couple who I thought they looked really nice. I had a fabulous time at their wedding, and reception. Everything went off really beautiful. But I was snatched out of retirement for the gig by Miss Stacy, and this was it. So I'm going to share a photo with you of my friend Eric and his bride Stacy. That was them at their wedding. Yes, her dress is silver. She chose silver. She also had lilac and white. Silver, lilac, and white were her colors. She went with a silver gown, and it was accented with pearls. Anyway, so I made her gown. I designed and I made her gown. So she pulled me out of retirement. Now I'm taking my needles and putting them back away and going on about my business. But that is what happened, you guys. That's why I was late and really stretched for time getting things done. But congratulations to Eric and Stacy on their nuptials. It was a fantastic time. Thank you guys for having me. Stacy, thank you so much for trusting me with your special day. Anyway, now let's get down to business. Business. You all know I wear a lot of hats and I do a lot of different stuff. So anyway, here we go. Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 10 and 11. And it kind of works out because episode 10 for me was kind of like a filler. It really wasn't much to go through, so we will be through that episode like this. There was a brunch. There was a brunch that was hosted by Ralph, of all people. Ralph hosted a brunch at their house, him and Drew's house, and the husbands cooked food. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Bryce showed up again, and this time Candy runs into Bryce, and Candy's like, oh, right. She almost didn't even know who he was. Girl, Candy, we felt the same way when we seen Bryce. Listen, this been like, the third time we've seen him, and it's just like, okay, all right. It's different. It's different for somebody to look so different yet look the same. I was like, that's just crazy to me. But anyhow, so Bryce was there again. just kind of there. Like he just not serving any real purpose. He's just there. Like he's not a guest that we will remember. Like they did a flashback later in episode 11 of Bolo. See, we're gonna always remember when Bolo was by. Okay. We'll always remember Bolo being by the Real Housewives. Anyway, I'm gonna move on because let me move on. Move on. So, like I said, the men cooked. Sheree was shading Kenya about her guy Roy not being there because you had Todd and you had Ralph and you had Ross. All the guys were there, but she's trying to give it to Kenya. But excuse me, ma'am, Martell wasn't there either. Oops. Moving on. Sheree, you be doing too much. In the midst of it, Roy actually had FaceTime Kenya. And Kenya's like, oh, here he is. Say hi to everybody. And Marlo busts out saying, girl, is that Roy? Oh, girl, I went on a date with Roy a time before. I said, we found out Kenya knew about it. Was no big deal. Was Kenya kind of bothered by it? Yeah, she was. Because she wouldn't have made that comment about he didn't like her and it only lasts this long and all that. You would, if you weren't bothered, you wouldn't have even mentioned all that. But the thing is, I mean, it's enough to bother you. Ain't no shame in that because Marlo is aggravating. So, yeah, the fact that you and Marlo dated the same guy, that's juicy and messy and all the things that this show is made up of. Anyway, so Marlo done dated Roy for a date. Okay, so moving right along. Also, what comes out there is that Drew is actually being sued by a chef. Sheree had the nerve to actually bring it up and being shady about it. It's like, Sheree, aren't you the one who is always being dragged for not paying your bills? So why you think you sitting in the space to be shading somebody about them not paying somebody and them suing them? And then when they said how much it was, child, they all was giving her, girl, really? Really? $1,000. Okay, Drew. You just don't never get enough of being embarrassed. Soon as the drama got started up, Candy rolled. Candy was like, okay, this looks like this get ready to get dramatic. Let me go. She went and got Todd. Because by this time they were sitting down eating and the guys were out in the backyard talking and having a good time. They're always, you ever notice that on all of the Housewives shows, the husbands pretty much get along and the women will start their bull crap and they always end up ruining the fun that the husbands are having because the husbands were having a good time out there. Candy went up there and got to. I said, Candy, you old damn killjoy, dragging him away from the good time with the fellas. But yeah, they always ruin the boys' fun. Anyway, moving right along. Lisbon, Portugal is where they are actually going. Okay. They get going. Candy right away. Candy is there. Johnny was dragging Candy, talking about she looked like Cleo from Set It Off. She just had her hair with some braids to the back. You could see she didn't really care. Like she didn't care. She didn't feel like she didn't look like she cared. She just looked like she was there. Like I got to do this trip and let's get it over with. The way Candy was and her attitude was sort of like she could have been down in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, honey, bored as hell, honey, sitting through some meetings. It's just, she just was bored. She didn't want to be there. But anyway, she ended up having food poisoning, and she was basically she had the shit, honey, all the way to Portugal, honey. And she got better once she got there and everything, and then she was able to eat. Can't listen. Long as she get better to where she can eat, Candy will be okay. So they was able to get her some food and stuff. That was that. Then what actually came out, again, more clownishness on Drew. Drew tells us about the fact that Ralph is actually in Vegas. Ralph is in Vegas because he's auditioning for the black version of Magic Mike. Now, I had to laugh because, one, you and your little producer friend tried to shade Ralph when you were doing that little music video, but there's some female on the set that has something to do with something, hook something up so Ralph could go down and perform and audition for Magic Mike because she was watching how he was flipping and flamming you around, and she liked what she saw on the set of your video. And now she got your man down to the Vegas auditioning for Magic Mike to shake his stick to the delight of onlookers everywhere, huh? So, girl, that seemed like a little bit of karma. But anyway, so that was that. Sonya ended up, this is all in like the first day there. Sonya had a little talk with Marla and told her, why are you always throwing shade at Kenya? Like, it's not nice. It's not, it just seems kind of, I don't know. It's just like you're always throwing shade at Kenya. Like sometimes y'all get along real well. And then when we get around other girls, you just feel the need to throw shade at her. Like, why do you do that? Just stop doing that. I was like, well, good for you, Sonya. Then Kenya ended up at the luncheon getting into it with Courtney. And Kenya was kind of giving very much of like, girl, I don't see any purpose in her. Me either, Kenya. You know, she didn't see the purpose in her. She was shading her, you know, but nothing too nasty. And Courtney was doing a lot of talking with her hands and ha, 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 and touch it. And Kenya was like, listen, let's talk about boundaries. Girl, I don't like you all like that. I don't know you, and I don't like you all like that. Stop touching me, ho. You know, it was real flat and true. Stop touching me, ho. You know, so very much that. Then there was this whole conversation that comes up, and this is what I'm talking about. Drew and the battery in her back and the foolishness. Sheree and Drew start talking, and it's about this whole lawsuit. She's like, I never said nothing about Sheree and how we had to give everything back. I never said nothing about Sheree and how we had to give everything back that you gave us during the reunion. I didn't do that to try to embarrass you. So why you would come out and say something about my lawsuit? Because it's serious to me. A lawsuit to me is serious. And it didn't make me feel good. And my feelings are hurt. And then Drew like got all into this thing, and she literally got in tears and walked off. And they're like, Sheree, go and fix it, you know. And Candy, what she did, Candy was like, girl, and insane, honey. I said, oh. So that was that. That's it. That's all that really went on in episode 10. See, I told y'all, episode 10 was like a filler just to take us over. Let's go. This now is episode 11. Let's do a little separation, honey. We're ready to go from out of this into a new episode. That was it for episode, what was it, 10 for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Uh-huh. Okay. Episode 11, season 15 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Thank you guys for being here. It's just foolishness. Anyway, so we start right back up where we left off. Sheree goes out to talk to Drew. Drew is really, it just got to be like this whole big old thing. And it was really dramatic. It was just kind of dramatic, you know what I mean? And as they were talking, and Sheree was like, well, Drew, you know, this, that, and the other. And then Drew was like, listen, I don't know why she's out here talking to me, this, that, thing, and the other. Get the bitch, this, that, the other. And Sheree was like, whoa. What did you just call me a bitch? I said, girl, she did. She did. It slid out so fast. I said, oh, girl, she got you, honey. She did. She got you, honey. And Sheree didn't appreciate that. And they went on. Candy basically is just over the whole dramatics of Drew. She really is. She's just over the dramatics of it all. She's like, well, what the hell? Like, why are we here? What was so bad that was said? She went on to, the lawsuit. It hurts me. They basically were laughing at the girls that stayed at the table. We're just like laughing about it. Kenya is so shady. Kenya will say, girl, this got to be about something more. They come back to the table. They're like, yeah, we're good. We're good now. Kenya continues on. Kenya was like, sure, let's go something more. This got to be about Ralph or something. I was like, Kenya. Now, as we all know, honey, in real time, ding, 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 it definitely does have something to do with Ralph. And she definitely was feeling some type of way about Ralph down there, shaking it up, busting it down, and spreading it for everybody to see during the audition for Magic Mike down to the Vegas. But anyway, she's trying to play it off. Anyway, they went ahead on and Kenya said, listen, girl, it's $1,000 lawsuit, child. How much would that be? We could all just split it and just pay her. Girl, we'll all just pay the girl off and then she just go away. How about that? And she's like, no, that's not it. This, that, thing, and the other. I was like, oh, Kenya, you shady. You shady. You gave her broke bitch tease 101, honey. But I just kind of laughed. Then they go to the whole Candy, you aren't ever around thing. And Candy was like, listen, I get it. I'm not even going to argue with you all. I get it. I'm never around. I'm really busy. I have commitments. I'm really trying to build. And they were like, build? Well, wait a minute. Now, now this is on y'all because y'all be laughing about her saying that she's worldwide. But now she's saying, I'm building, my empire. And they're like, building, you ain't in the building stages, girl. Like down there, like you're using that as an excuse. She's like, no, because just as easy as you have it, you can lose it. And I don't intend to lose it. And I get where she's coming from. I get where they're coming from. Candy said herself she got where they were coming from. She said, I probably wouldn't be inviting me to stuff either because I do miss a lot of stuff. But I got to do what I got to do. Listen, if you are just sitting at home popping bonbons and drinking champagne and not going to things that people are inviting you to, I get that. But she's not. She legitimately is working, and we know she's working, and we see the fruits of her labor, and we see the work that she's actually putting into. So, girl, y'all need to just shut up, honey. Y'all just going to use anything to just come at her. So that's just is what it is. Now, let's move on to day 2. Kenya running behind. They waiting on Kenya. I said, girls, they gonna leave her. Kenya's running out. It's raining, okay? Raining. She come out and she falls. And I said, oh, I can't move. She's an actress, child. I said, Lord have mercy. And then they said, this is her old nasty Drew. This is her second trip, honey, when she has been rolled out on a stretcher. And Courtney was Drew was like, yeah, at first. Drew was entertaining that conversation. It was her and Courtney. Then Courtney went further on because Kenya ended up having to go to the hospital. She went to the hospital. And Courtney goes further, and Drew kind of pulled back and was like, whoa, wait a minute, Courtney. Now, that ain't cool, what you saying. Because Courtney said, that's definitely her karma. She's a mean girl, and she's just getting what she deserved. And Drew was like, I ain't going to say that. First, I was kind of in it with you, but girl, no, I don't like what you're saying, and that ain't sitting well with me. I don't like to say stuff like that about people. I just don't really care for that. That didn't even sit well with Drew at all. It didn't sit good in her spirit. And actually, at the time, Courtney, you were actually being the mean girl, and I was being a mean girl too myself when I said, "Girl, she ambulance chasing." I'm being funny. Because she just keep on having these unfortunate situations. But again, I just think she's over dramatic. But if you won't fall down, girl, get paid, get money, bitch. Anyhow, so Candy kind of, Candy went on with her. She was down at the hospital for like 7.5 hours. They end up FaceTiming, and here go Marlo trying to come out to Candy. Candy's supposed to be worldwide. Why is they having to wait at the hospital on this, that? Honey, y'all are in Portugal. Yes, she says she's worldwide, girl. That's worldwide travel. Don't nobody in Portugal give a damn. Get on over there and get in a line and wait. She done fell and bust her hip, honey. Y'all sit over there and y'all wait. Go to the vending machine and get you some chips and shut up. But Marlo, she'll say, Candy always blending in the background with something. No, Marlo, that's you that blends in the background. Nobody knows you. People know Candy. You are such a hater. Anyway, in the midst of that, Marlo ended up having a little chit chat with Monietta while they were, out getting their little food for their little lunch and stuff. And she told her, she says, well, maybe, how fast things went along with you and your little guy friend, and then you're bringing him around the girls and stuff. Some people would have said that was a little soon, but everybody does it their own way. And then she let Marlo know. She said, and I'm going to just say this, I ain't talking about you. I'm not going to talk about you behind your back, girl. I didn't really care for the whole thing that you threw at Kenya with the whole. Is that Roy on the phone? Because it was like you were trying to steal her shine or trying to make her feel a type of way. And I'm just, as a woman, I didn't care for that. I didn't care for that. And then, they were given very much, of course, she always got her head up Kenya and Candy's ass. But I thought she was making a legitimate point, and it was fine. She said what she had to say. Drew actually got an apology from Marlo about the whole situation where she cussed her out when they were over at the City Winery, honey, and she told her, my nephew is dead, bitch! She just went off the rails, honey. Drew was looking so confused, but she apologized. She said, I apologize. I was triggered. I didn't really mean to make you feel no kind of way. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Drew told her, I said, well, wait a minute, Drew, because you're always begging for an apology. She gave you an apology. I need to see it in your action. I said, girl, you're doing too much. Doing too much. Then we had Martell ends up calling Chez. And he's all like, oh, think of me tonight. And this, that. It was fake. It really was very fake feeling. I was like, whatever. I don't know if I don't buy this whole Martell and Chez thing. It just it seems so opportunistic to me. It just seems like a cross-pollination of shows and just very business. And it just did knock me out. But anyway. Then they went ahead and they sat there and they decided to put a battery in Drew's back for Candy. They ended up telling her how when everything happened and she stormed off crying, and Candy said, and it's seen, honey. And just put that battery in her back. She was just all ready. I said, girl, don't let them talk you into nothing that you don't want to be in, playing around with Candy. But I was just looking at her like, girl, a mess. Then this is what hit. Chez. Sheree's talking. They're always flipping back and forth. She's a bone carrier, so they flip it back and forth, and they go into her confessional, and it's the new face. I said, oh! Put that new face. That new face is horrible. It's just round, and it just don't look right, and it's just shiny, and she just looked. I said, oh, Annabelle. When she came on there. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. This is not a good look. This whole new face versus the old face all in the same time. And it's just terrible. I hate it. It's terrible. But then she held him over a barrel and had them all to buy some She by Chez. I ain't seen no She by Chez bought from none of y'all. I shamed people into buying stuff out of her little thing. I said, girl, just a mess. Just a mess. A mess. Marlo had to throw out, she said, you know what? When Kenya and Candy are not around, look how all the girls, because they went to this little pottery class. So look at how all the girls get along. We'd be having a good time when Candy and Kenya ain't around. I was like, so you want to get rid of Kenya and Candy, huh? You interesting. Later that night, they had a sleepover. And then that's when Drew goes with her battery. She's gonna start up with Candy because Candy's leaving the next day. Okay, so Candy's like, I'm gonna go. She started up, and Sheree, like I said, strong arm the girls in the bathroom. She by Sheree. It just was a whole thing. Candy was like, listen, it was a joke. It wasn't meant to hurt you. I wasn't trying to hurt you, girl. It just was what it was. But I'll go ahead and apologize. This, that, the other. And I said, Drew, I don't know why you let them strong arm you into this. And I'm sure it's going to come up later. When we get to the reunion and that's going to come up with the way that these batteries are being put in Drew's back. And girl, you're going to keep coming for Candy until you mess around and lose your friend with that foolishness. Then the cameras wrap, and now we offer somebody's phone later that night. And the comment about LaToya and Drew kissing that night of the Bolo thing. And honey, Drew was sitting there saying she didn't do it, she didn't do it, she didn't do it. Candy sitting up, Candy like, I know you ain't saying I lied. She's like, I never kissed her. Candy's like, girl, this ain't what nobody told me. It's what I seen with my own eyes. And you know, Candy's like me in that. Like my whole cleanup thing, girl, you're not going to sit and lie. And I just sit by and let you lie when it has to do with me, baby, because I'm going to clean you up, honey, if you lying on me. Candy the same way. Candy was like, listen, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. It was so funny because in the confessional, they asked, that stupid doggone Marla, well, girl, well, what is it? What do you believe? Because she will say, I 80% say that, yeah, Drew kissed LaToya. And Drew even went so far as to say that they said, well, why did LaToya brought it up at the reunion? She said it out of her own mouth. She would say, Candy told her to. Candy told her to say that. I said, oh, Drew, you and Candy ain't going to make it, girl. But that doggone silly doggone Marlo said she lied with a straight face. She lied so good that I don't know. It's like I 80% believe what I saw, and then I 20% believe what she said because she lied so good. I said, good. So that was pretty funny. She said the bitch lied so good that I had to go 20%, that I had to try to believe her because she was lying so good. Child, then it moves forward. We're going to shoot forward, and 3 months later, we see the whole thing kicking up about this divorce with Drew, and then who the hell is Ty? Well, those of us who come from love and hip hop know who Ty is, honey. We know who Ty is, honey. And what is your relationship with Ty? And honey, all you see is mystery. You're not caught in a lie, are you, sweetie? You wouldn't be caught in a lie, would you, Drew? That wouldn't be you.